Hey everyone, welcome to You'll Probably Agree. Today I have Tarek Fayumi on from Movies with Tarek to talk about a little film called Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And
Oh,
boy, what an imaginative film this is.
oh yes, and
Yeah.
and I do want to say, Mike, thank you for having me on here as well. And I'm going for like after our experience of this film, I found there was many like surreal moments with this movie alone. More because with the original animated, with the animated version of the first Spider-Verse movie
Mhm.
now to this one, I feel like now we're kind of in a proper transition that also knows backstory but also appreciates nostalgia with a lot of the many factors and comical evidence surrounding the Spider-Man franchise alone.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is the movie didn't get drowned in nostalgia at all.
Exactly.
It could have, but it kept a pretty good message about a hero's path and the path that the hero takes, even if it means losing those that he loves, or what does he do about that? And I think that's the thing that makes these Spider-Man movies work, is you have a story about someone who's empathetic, who wants to save people, and that's his greatest strength, yet also his greatest weakness, is he can't stop himself from trying to save others.
Oh yeah, definitely. In terms of like can't stop himself and can't and it's also about like also control where it's like it's also like the portions that are in depth with this with across the Spider-Verse though is also like how basically this is not Peter Parker, it's Miles Morales, and Miles
Mhm.
Morales is honestly probably, when you think about it, his age alone is the age of where that's almost like the youngest age for someone to have the Spider-Man type of powers. So
Mhm.
it's honestly almost like in a vision where it's like you have this teenager where it's obvious he doesn't understand much of reality, but he's already grasping so much in his hands with the powers that were given to him. But then it's also coming coming around to face society of the multiverse and what holds true and what has risks going forward.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I gotta say, these guys took a big risk with the film. It's about 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Oh yes,
Which,
that was a ride, but it went fast. I'll tell you that much.
yeah, well, that's the thing. It doesn't feel like the length, but that's a very daring thing to do for an animated film, because most animated movies clock in at what, like hour 20 minutes, hour 30, because they're so painstaking to make. But this one is 2 hours and 20 minutes,
Oh
which
yes.
is a that's like an Olympic feat. I mean, first of all, the style. I don't know how long it takes to complete one scene in that movie, but I'm gonna guess it takes a very long time
Oh,
because
it probably does. Especially think about it. Even the moments of animation. I'm thinking, okay, some of these moments right now they probably took maybe a couple weeks just to film that one tiny aspect. Maybe
oh
months
yeah,
too.
just to get one little. I mean, there's a lot of great little cameos and stuff there. One little detail I noticed is when Miles is talking to his roommate, on the TV is the Spider-Man video game.
Oh
And
yes,
so yeah.
I remember that now, and also thinking about the video games. That's what I mean. Like a little bit of the nostalgia. Like the nostalgia is hidden and not overdone. Like
Mhm.
hidden stuff that we think about probably or remember if we've loved much of what was surrounded with Spider-Man from our younger days. Like it's nostalgia that's hidden, but in the right form of appreciation and going with the storyline.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's nostalgia, but it's not just about nostalgia. It's about Miles trying to save everyone, although he knows he
Exactly.
can't. And that's what makes that film stand out so much. I mean, it's like if you look at Spider-Man No Way Home, what was Spider-Man's goal? It was to save those who were practically unsavable,
Exactly.
because you had the Green Goblin, who was like a psychotic murderer.
Oh
You
yes,
Yeah, you
and
had Doc Ock, who was being mind controlled by his tentacles, and there's just
and
that little
then
chip at the back
and
that keeps
then
him
you
going.
had then didn't you add many from the many other Spider-Man franchises that all link together
Mhm.
then all comes together, and I have a feeling there's something that's like that in this film. I'm not trying to spoil, but I have a feeling as they continue going forward, there's going to be like some type of like landscape more into this multiverse, like what like pending. It's like a maze, but the maze around it is basically like a maze full of questions, but and nothing that's predictable.
Yeah.
which is why I love this film, especially in
Well,
the animated version of it.
yeah, that was the thing I actually pointed out in my review. Is that you think you know where the story's going, but it
Mhm.
turns out it's actually going somewhere completely different. You know,
Exactly.
because
Like
I thought,
going
yeah,
somewhere completely different. It very much so is. Like, look, like we're not just going into the life of Miles. We're going into many different universes.
mhm.
Some that are honestly incredible, but also very unexpected.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you follow the tale, and I don't know if this is a spoiler or not. I don't think it is, but I don't know. Do I have a little spoiler banner just in
Oh,
case?
well, I think honestly, I think if there's a little spoiler, it's totally fine because think about it. Many who are into the Spider-Man franchise or anything super of Marvel, there's that they're already anxious. Like, look at what happened for all that time before we got to No Way Home. For everyone, where Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are like, no, we're not in it. No, not in it. Then look what happened.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
a Photoshop.
Yes.
That's not me. Yeah,
Yeah.
but and that's funny because they do kind of make an appearance in this movie, Andrew and Toby, but
Yes.
it's kind of through flashbacks and
Old
clips and other
old footage.
films.
Yeah, old
Yeah,
footage,
it's
old
just through.
archives. That's what I
Yeah,
mean. Like, I love how this film is kind of like archive mode a little bit more than having random surprises. Like archive mode make you think how that links to an importance, while the multiverse is spiraling in its comical animation and finding its realism, and also on top of that finding its in-depth storyline that continues to keep finding moments of darkness, but at the same time the darkness only leads to more new and exciting adventures.
yeah. Well, I mean, if we think about the style of this film, it's incredible. It feels like a moving comic book brought to life, and a lot of other filmmakers have tried to do that. If you look at like Ant-Man and the Wasp, it tries to look like Quantumania, but it looks like crap instead. And
That did look like crap. I can't even get over that experience in a way.
yeah,
I
it
mean, it
was
wasn't,
terrible.
yeah, it was terrible. And just like that's the thing, it's like Ant-Man, like I felt like, I mean, we're not going to get into Ant-Man. This is Spider-Man, but yes, but I mean, but that's what happens, I feel now, like when films just want to keep rushing and rushing to catch up in the universes. Whereas this one, it took its time. I mean, there to get to come forward like with this. But the thing I like about this is whoever is in the process of continuing this franchise and this animation, we're always going to have something new to look forward to going
Yeah.
forward,
Well,
honestly.
this movie ends on a cliffhanger. It ends on a to be continued, which
Mm,
makes me go like I kind of wish it didn't end on a cliffhanger, but at the
mhm.
same time, it does get me excited for the next film.
Oh yeah, cliffhangers. I feel we need more cliffhanger endings in this point with many films, especially if there's continuations. I feel many films don't really want to go the cliffhanger out, but the cliffhanger here was just perfect. And I don't know if we're not going to spoil the cliffhanger though.
No, I don't think we need to spoil that. We know that Miles is trying to save someone, and
Uh,
instead of not helping them, like what they're supposed to do, they come to his aid. You
that
know?
oh yeah, for sure. I wonder though, even though our format was just an irregular theatrical experience, I wonder what would it be like to actually watch this in like a digital experience or bigger format, because I think it's actually in some bigger formats. Imagine that world alone. It would probably be like Spider-Man the Universal ride, and I've been to that ride at Universal Studios. It would be
Oh,
like that, I'm sure, but like maybe 10 times the immersion if it was like in on an IMAX screen or
oh
something.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
10 times the immersion, you'll feel it all, I'm sure. Probably be dizzy after. I don't think it's 3D, but that's fine, honestly, because there's enough in it where 3D is not needed, kind
Well, the
of
movie's
thing.
like a mixture of 2D and 3D. You have the like little pencil animations, especially when they're kind of going over what year it is, and you have on the lower third, like Spider-Man 1997, and
Yes.
yeah, it worked really well. It's kind of an artistic, and I wrote this like in my first like sentence of my review. It's an artistic vision. It's something that nobody else is doing, and it's visual. It's like a visual orgasm of styles, you know?
I love that term, visual orgasm of style. Truly
Yeah.
do. Like, and I feel like there's been rumors about this. Even this is still on a topic of Spider-Man, but even of Spider-Man alone. Like, what I think they should do, like, even though you had that Broadway musical that flopped in the Spider-Man adaptation,
Ah,
I think they need to do Spider-Man in Cirque du Soleil mode. Honestly, that would make more sense, especially in this context.
it would
I
be
feel.
through, yeah, they do it through like body art, where it's more like you're doing a dance and it represents
Yes,
what you're
that
trying to
for
say.
Cirque du Soleil it would make sense, but Broadway, no, it makes sense why that
Oh.
completely flopped. And I'm sorry if any of you part of that Broadway thing is listening to this right now, but Broadway does not have the capabilities, and they never had to pull something off like that. Probably won't happen for quite some time. So till then,
No,
if
they
you want
won't.
to do stunts like that, go to Cirque du Soleil or something.
Yeah,
Kind
and
of.
that show kind of deserves to be on there more.
Oh
But I
yeah.
mean, yeah, when I think about the visual style of this film, it really takes me back because remember when Ang Lee tried to make Hulk look like a moving comic book?
Oh hell yes, I
Yeah,
remember that, and I had some moments of that, but where I really kind of enjoyed that. But then there were parts of that Hulk film where I still felt it was off-putting a little
yeah.
bit.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is like all
Yeah.
these filmmakers before have tried to make their movies look like comic books that are brought back to life, but these guys actually really did it. It really
Yes.
felt like you were in a comic book and you were watching it come to life. Like there are some scenes that are in total 2D style instead of 3D, and you're going, "Wow, how did
I
they
know.
pull that?
I
Like
know,
how they
right?
make that
And
possible?"
I even found myself, and even as I was like jotting our notes down, as in my
Mhm.
critics, as in how we know as critics, we take our notes in our screenings, kind of thing. The one quote, kind of thing, the one quote that came to my mind, like in the moments of the universe and conversations, is in every other universe, it doesn't end well. And honestly,
Mhm.
it may not end well for some, but in the end, it could end well on a different path, or maybe it could have a negative ending or some type of negative ending like how we thought of this, but it could mean that there's something more exciting going forward. Like I feel like that is like the cliffhanger is always good to get our heightened emotions up, but then actually more excited for what we're about to experience later.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this film, where does it rank among the Spider-Man movies?
I'm going to say this. So, if I were to make a ranking of the Spider-Man films, here's what I think, honestly. I think let's how about this? Let's go by ranking between the different Spider-Mans kind of thing. Like let's take the animated version, then let's take the ones from the three different people who've done Spider-Man, you
Mhm.
know? Because if we put them all into No Way Home, that's going to get a little confusing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Kind of.
it's funny. I actually rank it right next to the live action films because I think animation is just as good as live action. I mean, in many respects, it's far more difficult to
Oh
pull
yeah.
off
I
than
I, I think
because
this I think this one like definitely kind of tops the chart right above like because I feel like there's a ranking. I feel like I want to rank this alumni wise a little bit kind of thing, kind of
Mhm.
thing. Like what I mean is like of course Tobey Maguire, the first one, and was his good one. And then for Andrew Garfield, I felt his Andrew Garfield only did two. His second one was better. I like the second one and that one better than the first one, kind of
Mm.
thing. With the whole,
Mm.
because I felt that Harry Osborn thing they had going could have been promising,
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
thing. And then
Yeah.
sadly didn't go. But with Tom Holland, I think honestly, his masterpiece with that is No Way Home kind of thing. And then
Yeah.
when you go to this one, this is the best in the animated series above all. It tops the first one of the animated,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I'd
But
say
if it could be any of them in a row, I think Spider-Verse tops all these, right? All those right now,
Yeah, that I think if you look at all of them, this is my favorite one. This one has the most energy, the most originality, the most creativity.
Mhm.
Spider-Man No Way Home, I really like that movie a lot. I'm actually considering buying it. It was one of the films that kind of brought people back to the theater.
Oh,
And
I remember, and I just remembered seeing how often it would be sold out, like even weeks later, kind of thing. And
yeah,
I would be like,
because it was like
we've already seen it.
Woodstock for Spider-Man fans
Oh
because
yeah,
everyone wanted to see Toby and Andrew come back, and there was nothing more satisfying than seeing them walk through those portals.
I wonder, do you think they had? I'm sure Tony and I mean I'm not so sure, but I'm sure that Toby and Andrew
Andrew.
They probably had something with IMDb because I even remember looking at IMDb before
Yeah.
the screening and that wasn't listed. They probably had something saying not to write it until
They absolutely did
obviously.
because that would ruin the whole
But
experience.
then as soon as Dr. Octopus came in, I'm thinking, okay, this is becoming very clear right now of what's about to happen.
Oh
But
yeah.
that's the thing. We're gonna see, I'm sure, surprises like that. And you never know, folks, if you're listening to this, expect some surprises, but don't think too in depth with it. Because then you're gonna distract yourself of overthinking instead of getting into the the realism animations and the many dimensional type of excitements of this adventure. And it's one that's honestly hard to get out of my head just by how brilliant it was. And I just feel there's definitely so much more that's bound to be done. I'm sure that there's gonna be new immersive adventures. And honestly, I really feel that this one takes the cake for, if I were to say animation of 2023, I would at this point, even though we're still kind of early. And I'm sorry, but I'm feeling that way. I really am.
Well, I wonder if all three of these movies will get the Oscar for best because the first one did. And
Yes.
now this one, it's there's no other movie that looks quite like it. That it's not just because it's a great Spider-Man movie, but it's a great entertaining movie and a visual feast for the eyes.
Oh yeah.
It kind of brings me back to the time when Roger Ebert noted Batman Mask of the Phantasm as his favorite Batman film, and this was before Batman Begins came out.
Oh yes.
And he liked it because they studied the character the most, where other films kind of left him mysterious. You didn't know much about him.
Mhm.
And this one really kind of got into his psychology. And from that actually kind of got me into watching the animated series and binging it.
Oh
You know,
yes, the animated series. Honestly, there's something about superhero franchises where the animated series, there's so much more fun to it, kind of thing.
hmm
Like you want to continue, you just want to continue because they even had that whole thing saying previously on like hell. I feel like the cartoon versions of Spider-Man, unfortunately, back in the day, were kind of short-lived, kind of thing, kind
Yeah.
of thing. It was so much more in the comic books, the video games and the movies kind of thing, which really
Yeah.
lifted it off. Like I was looking back like at how much money the very first Spider-Man made with Tobey Maguire. It was the one film to rank like over 100 million, one of the first, and for that time frame of 2002,
hmm
which is a pretty big thing back then,
Wow.
kind
Oh
of
yeah,
thing.
that's huge. You
Oh
said 100 million box office returns, or are we
yeah.
talking about? Okay. I
Yeah.
wonder what those toy sales are like too.
Oh yeah, and also I do remember how they over advertised that the hell out of that film because DVD was still quite a thing off the ground. The times of 2002 and how when going to movies had such excitement. Now the excitement's still there, but the excitement was truly from midnight releases and whatnot.
Oh my god, yes. I remember going to midnight releases for a lot of movies and
I do
s-
too. I kind of miss it in some circumstances.
yeah, well the music box still has them.
Oh
But
yeah, music box. But I feel now we're just in We're many of us are in mindsets we're way too adjusted to them being so earlier now, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this movie really should be seen on a big screen for how many details there are. And I will say the digital cinema projection doesn't look too great because, like, when I was watching it on the screen, I could see like the little flaws on the screen itself when I
I
was watching
I
the
agree.
movie.
I do kind of wish they would have given us a premium format for our screening, kind
Yeah,
of thing, and hell, even I mean, I'm not gonna share much, but I will say, I'd always feel like films like this, even a superhero one, honestly, when it's something new, there should always be kind of someone should always try to take the opportunity to see it in a format that's kind of that goes above and beyond, because that's kind of where the true feeling of the like superhero like experiences, especially if something like Spider-Man, when it's jumping through waves of different dimensions, swinging through buildings. Like there's just so much. Like I've seen many of the Spider-Man films in IMAX. I think I've seen all the ones of Andrew Garfield in IMAX. I've seen all the ones with with Tom Holland in IMAX, but I only saw the third one of Tobey Maguire in
yeah.
IMAX back then, because they put 2 and 3 of his in IMAX, but 2 came later, kind of thing, in IMAX, and then 3 came right away, because I don't think IMAX had a lot of the studio agreements like they do now, kind of thing.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so therefore, take advantage if you can. See these on a big, see this in multiple in premium formats if you can. And I will say though, definitely, just with the multiverse alone, kind of thing. I just wonder if there's ever going to be like something linking back to the other superhero or Marvel films we love the most. But I mean, I do respect though, if they choose to make fun of a Marvel film that we weren't fond of. I respect it. Like if they want to make fun of Fantastic Four, go right ahead.
Oh, you could definitely have plenty of material, or even Ang Lee's Hulk. You could. I mean, I keep
Yes.
wanting to see like Eric Bana come through a portal or something like that.
I want to see Edward Norton honestly end up being the one who ends up like let's make a universe of Hulk characters. Let's bring all 3 of them back, kind
Yeah,
of thing. And then let's have Mark Ruffalo and Eric Bana look at Edward Norton back. What have you done? Kind of
right.
thing.
What's the name of the guy who played
Yeah.
General Ross in it in the 2003 version?
I'm gonna look back at that. It's now you're making me think of that. But I was did you see that film in a theater back then? I don't think
Yes.
it did I did too. I don't think it did very well though.
Sam Elliott is what I was
That's
thinking
right.
of. Because what
Yeah.
you could do is because now that the gentleman who played him before, which Hulk was that?
That was the first Hulk was in a film like for the 2003 it was Eric Bana, kind of thing.
Oh, William Hurt is what I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah,
If
that's right. In the
if you
second one,
could,
Incredible Hulk. I liked Incredible Hulk. Then Edward Norton ruined it later
well,
on, in a
yeah,
way.
well, if you wanted to have someone come through a multiverse portal, I
Hmm.
wouldn't mind seeing William Hurt, who now is, tragically passed away.
Yes,
I wouldn't,
sadly. Yes.
yeah, I wouldn't mind if he was replaced by Sam Elliott, through the multiverse.
Hmm.
And you could do that, because then you have someone already
I
played that
agree
role.
with you, my friend. And also, it's like, like that's the thing. They could do so much in this multiverse. That they could do. They could do a
Hmm.
lot of things in this multiverse, even if it's animation mended with real people.
Yeah,
They
and
really.
I mean, there was a lot of cameos that were real surprising. There's a great part where they all do the pointing meme to
Oh,
each other.
yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
this movie's loaded with nostalgia and all that stuff. But for 2 hours and 20 minutes, did the movie feel like 2 hours and 20 minutes? Did it feel like it was lingering on, or did you not notice it because it was so fun?
I honestly felt like that the film had it's kind of back and forth, but at the same time, I do feel like there wasn't really the dragging moments though. I just knew
Hmm.
whenever there was something new, it was going to be a moment of something that was going to have like a new surprise, a new adventure, something we don't know about that we're
Hmm.
about to realize. That's what I mean. The film is like a gem of puzzles very kind of that's very unpredictable, but at the same time invigorating. And the invigorations never stop in its tracks of this one, especially when you have like many obscure enemies or many obscure transitions between scenes, like the out of focus moments of the multiverse is only the beginning of what is to come going forward.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have so many cameos that I can't even mention in this movie that this movie kind of out. If you think about this in A24's Everything Everywhere All at Once,
Yes.
which they make a cameo in this movie, don't they?
Think I do remember they kind of do, but
They cut to like a laundromat, and then the crowd we were with just started going crazy, and I
yes.
was like, okay, is that
What
Everything
is
Everywhere? Why?
now you're making me think. Is it just me, or are many films trying to pick a multiverse of some kind, even when it's not superhero? Now you're making me think. This is going to sound very off topic, but different universe. Beau is Afraid, the world of anxiety. Yeah, this is the world of superheroes mended in of the world of Spider-Man, past, present, future. Then you got Everywhere All at Once, which is its own multiverse, but in a way, like compiled with society. Then there's Beau is Afraid, which doesn't mend with anything, but has so many over exaggerations of someone's own anxiety and fears.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is that it keeps it centered on the character.
Yes.
As much as they introduce all these crazy new elements, it really proves you can make a movie with as many characters as you want, but you need to stay focused on the protagonist.
Exactly.
And this movie has two protagonists. You have Gwen Stacy, who's played by Haley Steinfeld.
Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you got Miles Morales, who I don't have the actor's name at the top of my head.
Yeah. Shameik Moore.
Shameik Moore, thank you.
And I do agree. That's the thing. Like every character, every voice in this film serves a purpose. Truly, going forward, kind of.
Well,
thing.
they do. Yeah, they do. And I'm extremely impressed by how it doesn't just lose track of who we're gonna follow in the movie. This is very much Miles and Gwen's story, and it's a story about sacrifice and what you have to give up if you're a superhero.
Oh, I agree.
And of course, Miles doesn't want to give that up, and that leads to some great drama in the picture that is worth seeing. But
especially when it comes to like the dishonesty portion about actually being Spider-Man, and when it comes to just all the like frustrations that are coming around, it's like a bucket of a gap of a bunch of problems, but then yet again, it's like does he want to unfold the truth? And if he unfolds the truth, what can that do to the multiverse?
Well, that's the thing, and the whole plot of the movie is about not breaking canon.
Yes.
You can't break canon or you'll ruin the entire multiverse portal. And it's very meta in that way, because this movie's saying, okay, this guy cannot break this very particular event or else he'll throw everything into disarray. And of course, what does he decide to do? He decides to change it because that's a life he can save.
Now, and you're just making me think now with what you just said, like how we related back saying, imagine this being Cirque du Soleil. Imagine the stage in the background. Imagine Peter Parker, Miles Morales, whatever, in like the center of that stage. Then all of a sudden, like one section of the stage, this would be in his background, is like all the different responses he would think in his head to get. Then the other end would be like other reactions. One section would be positive reactions. The other section would be negative reactions. But then there'd be a third category. The third category would be the multiverse of people. Like it would almost all be like all that coming down onto him, like many voices in his head. Then after that, he would be like, I have to stay blank because if I say anything, the multiverse is messed up.
Right.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And the nice thing is, although this is multiverse and although there's a million characters, you don't lose track of what's important.
Oh no,
which
you
is
don't.
Miles wanting to save the ones that he loves. But do you think this movie elevates the comic book genre, or does it?
I kind of think it elevates on to the extent of like of graphics
Mhm.
and being an original in a way,
Yeah.
kind of thing, like an originally written script. But the
Hmm.
comic books alone, maybe a few of the characters, like how we're gonna see, and now not gonna spoil that. You guys have to see that for yourself. But I mean, I will
Right.
say, like in terms, it does in the sense of the graphics and like action moments, where it's like bam, bam, boom, boom, like of explosions, whatnot. But like it's actually an original type one. So I don't really see it kind of being adapted so much from like an original one of the Spider-Man comic books, which is a good thing because
Yeah.
this means there's originality and it's going to be continued upon.
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing about these Spider-Verse movies is that they don't feel like they're recycled from anything. It feels like they're grabbing everything we're attuned to through the Spider-Man franchise and through all the years of his creation, and they're making something that you're not going to forget because it is just absolutely gorgeous to look at. And what happens with these characters is relatable. But of course, I can't say what happens or else I'll ruin the movie.
Oh yes. And and like
We're
I
only
know
doing
we have.
minor spoilers.
Yeah, like I said, everyone's already anxious for troops, but not going to spoil it much either, kind of thing. Let's honestly make these people motivated to watch the movie and not spoil it. Like you have to see it for yourself, you
Well, yeah,
know?
you have to see it for yourself, but you should also see it because this is a movie that demands to be seen on a big screen because of how much detail there is in the picture.
Oh
And
yeah, and there's not really like any other way to see it. Like if you're gonna watch it from your home, which you're probably gonna be able to do sooner than you think
oh
at
yeah,
this
probably
point.
in like 3 months,
Oh yeah, definitely. Maybe even earlier.
depending how much money it makes. Because
Ironically,
Kubrick,
I found myself researching how to make your apartment. And I remember this. I disregard it due to how we've been at movies so much due to COVID. I remember researching how to make your apartment feel like you're at the movies, kind of thing.
mm,
Even though movie theater goes, and it literally said turn off all your lights. Like make your room completely dark. Turn off all electronics, and the only electronic you should have is the movie on, kind of thing.
mm,
And
mm.
that worked for me in some instances, but at the same time, it still sucked.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
when you think about it, can animated movies be held on the same mantle as live action films?
I think they can. It just depends on its continuity. It depends on its how it's written. It depends on the technicalities around it. Depends on, but ultimately, I think it just depends on who's directing it, who's merging together, who's done stuff previously, like who
Yeah.
has experience in the arena to do this like that. Like because I'm trying to think of a film where I could think, something that may have looked animated, but then transitioned. I feel there was a little bit of that, even though this is more adult. In
Yeah.
like Sin City back in
Mm.
2005. I remember there are a few very comic book moments, but then it did have a lot of real people. It still transitioned to brief animated stuff, though.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that wasn't original though.
See,
That was based
I
on a
think I
comic.
think you can hold animation up to live action anytime because hey, it's harder to do. I'm not saying that live action is easy. Live action is a miracle to get any movie made, to be
Oh,
honest.
oh yeah, it
But
truly is.
when you think about all the hours and effort and blood, sweat, and tears put into that compared to a live action one where like let's face it, some of the cinematography in Spider-Man No Way Home is pretty flat. You know,
I agree, and it became a little bit of a moment where it's like predictable.
oh, I didn't feel
In
like
a
it was
way.
predictable.
With our surprises.
Right. I didn't feel
Yeah.
like it was predictable as much as it was just the lighting was really basic in that movie, and
Mhm.
it didn't really invite much inspiration. I mean, the thing that was amazing was seeing the two actors we wanted to see again, but and it did have a lot of emotion in that story, but if it weren't for the script, that movie would have been terrible.
Oh
Because
yeah.
the cinematography, and just looking at it, I'm going, God, they're just letting everything so then it can match perfectly with the CGI,
Oh yeah.
more than they're trying to actually light the scene.
I'm sure
Where
a lot of production was already kind of made with that film, even before COVID. Because think about it, we got it like right at the end of 2021, kind of thing.
yeah,
Like
and nobody
Marvel
on
really pushed for that.
nobody on set really died from COVID.
No, no one. No,
Um,
no, no. On many films, no one did, kind of
yeah,
thing.
I mean, Tom Cruise tried to kill the crew himself when they broke COVID rules, but
Oh yeah, I still listen to that audio tape from time to time,
Mhm.
and
I
and and
talk to people,
and
producers, so this doesn't fucking happen
and,
again.
and I'm sorry, but with how short Tom Cruise is, that's just like seeing a teenager complain. No,
Oh, hey, I'm short.
no, I don't mean to offend you, buddy, but Tom
Nah.
Cruise, think about it.
Well, he's
Just
very insecure about his height.
oh yeah, I don't even think they. I think whenever he's on interviews, they don't let him. He doesn't want them to show him from the legs up, because then people will see it. You know.
Yeah. Well, that's always been a rumor about him, but I don't
Uh,
know. That's got to be
But
true because
yeah,
it still
uh,
goes on.
I know, right? But with Spider-Man though, kind of thing, I just feel like that's the thing, kind of, is like like the way to define Miles Morales as Spider-Man kind of thing. He's kind of, the young, undefined hero. Like he could
Hmm.
probably be more popular than he expects. He could have a lot more if people actually knew the truth, but the truth will have consequences.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's why a superhero has to keep their secret identity, or else everyone will be in danger. And there's a great scene actually that I liked in the movie where Miles is at a barbecue with his family.
Oh yeah, I remember that scene.
And yeah, and they're trying to figure out what's wrong with him, and he won't really give him anything because he can't tell him that he's Spider-Man. Yet the mom kind of understands him and knows where he's coming from, especially when he's talking to Gwen and she wants to reconnect with she wants him to connect with her, I should say.
Mhm.
And like the parents really get him. And that's the one thing that was really sweet about that movie.
And
Because
there's also like that's kind of one of those things where it's like kind of like one of those parent moments where it's like okay, like yes, he may be struggling, maybe just struggling to come to terms with reality, or maybe he's having problems outside, kind of thing.
right, and he's having problems trying to be Miles Morales and Spider-Man at the same time. But that's what goes with the
Oh,
territory.
and spoiler right here, and I don't care that I'm spoiling this, but yes, it's set up like Miles goes to a prestige school, but his parents get so angry at him for having a B.
Oh yeah, yeah. You did what? Oh, I'm gonna get you when you get home. Yeah. I mean that's the thing. His parents are hard on him for him to succeed. But I mean
Oh,
that's what
a
good
B is a
parenting.
miracle. It
Yeah, that's what good parenting is in a way.
is.
You kind of have to push your kid to do better
Oh
because
yeah,
good enough is never good enough.
I
And
agree.
I mean that's where I mean the thing is though is like Miles and Peter are like the same people in a way. They both want to save everyone and they both are heroic for that. I mean, they
Mhm.
don't have to save people from a burning building when it's falling down and risk their own life, but they do it. You
Oh
know,
yeah, they do, and that's the thing. And even like Peter can apply himself and wants to, but the call for Spider-Man always comes first so many times.
yeah.
And the
I mean,
call to deliver pizzas, like in Spider-Man 2.
I'm
Save
just thinking of the
deli-
pizza song now.
Oh yeah, and in that film they have it where it's like the pizza's free if it's late. It makes me now think when I order pizza, how come it's not free? It should have been here ages ago. You
Oh
can blame
yeah.
you can blame Domino's for that, I think. I think they settled a lawsuit saying it puts drivers at risk.
I see. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so don't think you're getting free food much out of deliveries anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so anymore. But
Yeah. Hmm.
was there a point in the movie where you think it was going along kind of slowly? Because I'll admit the movie is great visually, but sometimes I'm like, okay, where are we going?
A little bit when they try to, now another spoiler here. There's a moment where they
Sorry.
try to mend. Spider-Man in an international world.
Mm,
That I felt there was eensy moments of dragging. I'm thinking, okay, I understand this wants to be a universal thing,
yeah.
but how does this kind of come into play?
Are you talking about the Indian Spider-Man when he comes
Yes.
in? Yeah,
Yeah.
the Spider-Man who wears no shoes. Yeah, that
Yes.
guy.
I'm thinking, okay, this is something the fans are not used. Now, I understand trying to make new adventures, but there's something that doesn't link up to this, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
much.
I don't know, no, but the thing that really kind of struck me is it did remind me, just piggybacking off what I said earlier, when Roger Ebert said that Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, although it was animated, was his favorite film. I
Mhm.
feel like we have that with these, where these movies define Spider-Man more than the other movies that came before it did. You know, now that's
Yeah.
not to say they didn't do that.
Mhm.
I think Spider-Man 1 and 2 from Sam Raimi are fantastic.
Mhm.
I love Spider-Man No Way Home,
Mhm.
but I mean the Andrew Garfield ones, I think Andrew Garfield himself, like when he was on in the mask, he was the best Spider-Man. His Peter Parker, but everything
Mhm.
else, I mean,
I think Andrew Garfield really showed his true Peter Parker self actually in No Way Home, come to
mhm,
think about it. Because he's like, okay, I'm obviously with guys who've been in the same situation as me. So,
yeah,
you know.
and with Miles is defining who he is because he has to save someone that he loves, but he can't do it because if he does, he's gonna break the canon, he's gonna ruin the multiverse, everything's gonna go to hell. But this guy does it because he's so hell bent on saving others,
Mhm.
especially the person he's supposed to save in this movie.
And speaking of hell, I will tell fans, once you're wrapped into this multiverse, you may feel like you're already in hell.
Well, if
Not in a bad way. Not in a
I
bad
think
way.
if you're epileptic, you're gonna have seizures during this
Yes.
movie
Please
because
consult with a doctor before having this experience if that's actually the case.
yeah, because like I remember it started with flashing lights. I'm like, ooh man, are people gonna get
Yeah,
seizures watching
and
this?
and now movie theaters even put up signs now saying this movie has tons of flashing lights, yada yada yada, kind of
Yeah,
thing. But
yeah.
I think because movies and whatnot have gotten so much more powerful with that, where I don't know anyone who's had the only movie where I've ever known someone have a seizure from, and this does not surprise me, is Hardcore Henry. Mhm.
Oh, the body cam movie.
Oh my god, I was not so sold.
Yeah, I've
wasn't a
heard it's not that good.
was not bad. It was just I'm thinking, okay, what's the point? There really wasn't a point.
Yeah, no, and making a movie just strictly on things like this. Although I'm sure it was a 35 millimeter camera, and that's what they were really doing.
It was to be. I'm thinking this is like Blair Witch Project only wanted to do something with a little more or less shaky shots. It's like, okay, let's put this camera on a robot now.
Yeah, have you heard of a game called Unrecord?
Yeah,
Yeah, now that's a body cam footage game. It looks amazing, but you got to have PC to play it.
yeah, I
But
do think honestly those type of format would be better gaming wise. And speaking of shaky cameras, and now not now this film is shaky too, with animations and whatnot. But speaking of like experiences from shaky cameras, kind of thing, I will never get over watching Cloverfield all those years ago
oh,
because
do you
even
get
though
sick?
I didn't get sick, the people around me, oh my god, it was just like
Well, they're all puking.
yes, I probably should have.
Really?
Yes, because I think, I think in that generation, people have never watched a movie where the
Yeah.
camera shakes so much. So they probably didn't really think about that. Or they probably didn't anticipate it to be that shaky, but it actually was.
Yeah.
you
Now
know?
the director of that movie actually went on to direct the Planet of the Apes films. Not the first one, but the second and third one,
Oh,
of the
yeah.
newest ones. And he also went on to do the Batman. You
Oh,
know.
yeah. I do think they're making another Planet of the Apes, surprisingly.
Oh,
I
are they
think.
really?
They
Is it
are,
gonna be
but I
like a
think.
remake of the original?
No, it's like continuing after war, I think. But
Hmm.
I think no offense, we've got that ship has sailed, honestly,
Yeah.
at this point.
I mean, circling back to Spider-Man though,
Yeah.
this
Oh
is
yeah. We of course that's you and I, Mike. We tend to jump into all kinds of connections. But yes, but
it's
that's what's
okay.
always fun.
It's
That's what's
a,
always
I
fun.
think
Yeah.
all critics have their own little like 7 degrees to Kevin Bacon without Kevin
Oh,
Bacon that
oh
we
yes,
apply.
for
Yeah.
sure,
I'm
definitely. I mean, mean, like, even then, like with Spider-Man, though, I just think after this experience kind of thing, what if there was like some type of cut? Like, what if there was all of a sudden an extended cut of this film? I'm sure there is.
I don't know if there is, just because of the animation. I think like you have to finish the scene
Yep.
before you can like release it to the, because if you see deleted scenes in animated films, a lot of them are like half animated.
Oh yeah.
So you'd probably get a lot of that if you get any of it on the Blu-ray or the 4K UHD.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but I
The only
mean,
they didn't have a lot of the spider sense tingling moments. Maybe they had a
they
few,
did
but
have a
not
little bit of it,
a little
but
bit. But I'm
yeah.
thinking, where's that aspect? I mean, not saying that that makes the movie poor, but I'm thinking, my tagline before this movie is "Spider senses are tingling." Thinking, where's the tingling stuff?
Yeah, well, what did they call it in the new movies? They called it your like tingle thing or something like that.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh yeah.
So when I think about this movie, I think like how can they make more of these like films that are imaginative and are touristic and really quite inspiring to see, because this is a film that really is just mind-blowing when you watch it. You know,
Oh.
from the opening moments with Gwen, sorry, spoilers, but that's what the banner down here is for.
Yes, with that banner's been up. You should know things are getting spoiled. So you can
Yeah.
get angry with us later, but that ain't gonna stop us from saying what we want to say.
Well, we're not
I'm joking.
spoiling too
Yeah,
much.
we're not gonna
I'm
spoil you.
really
We
I'm
love you
biting my
guys.
tongue. I'm biting
Yes.
my tongue on who Miles is supposed to save.
Mhm.
Although the funny thing is the trailers already gave it away,
Yes.
which
The
like,
trailers have gave it away.
yeah, that's what I don't get. I'm like, the trailer just gave away one of the key moments in the movie,
Mhm.
and then they're telling me not to spoil it? Like, but you guys already did. I'm just talking about things I saw in the trailer.
Oh
But
yeah.
that's a whole other thing to ramble about.
Oh yes. Talk about trailers spoiling stuff for trailers being inaccurate. We could ramble about that for ages, but we're not going to do that. But you're right though, and I recall the trailer did give it away, kind of
Yeah,
thing. So
yeah.
guys, so audience, you're gonna watch this, but there you go. The spoiler's already been there for you if you watch the trailer. So
Well,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's like, Miles, you can't save everyone. Oh, I gotta save them. All right, there I say it. I can't even say him or her. It's them.
Oh yes, and I mean, it's also just that ones where it's like you know, like it, like it's just so unique because I just love how even with the universe, it's like all the different Spider-Man characters are like the alumni in the context of what has importance and what's best for actually Miles alone, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a movie about why Miles cares for other people.
Oh
You know,
yes.
and that's what Spider-Man is about. He cares about people. He doesn't just use his power to his advantage. You
Mhm.
know, he's a hero because he is humble. And that's what we've always gotten with Spider-Man films. That's what we got with this one.
Mhm.
And I couldn't have given it a stronger recommendation. I never felt bored. I never felt like the movie was dragging on too long. I felt, as a matter of fact, I wanted more of it when it ended. I wanted to rewind the thing and see it again.
Now that we mentioned about spoiler in the trailer, this just came to my head because this correlates to Spider-Man. Let's just have the Venom character have his angry voice be like, "Stop spoiling it," literally.
Stop spoiling this.
Then I could just picture me being like, "Make us. I'll make you eventually." Okay,
Yeah.
okay
But
then.
but I gotta say,
Yeah.
this is a movie that's so special and so rare. I
Mhm.
gave it a, and if I can click on it here, a 4 out of 4 Guinnesses.
Wonderful. I do. My star rating is 4 stars. I'm at the 4 star route of this one, but
Oh, he's
love.
Derek's also at 4. Boo 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 boo.
Yes.
Just have it
Hell
pop up.
yes.
Bam bam bam
Hell
bam boo
yes.
boo boo. We give it 4 stars out of 4. No, it's true. It's almost like a. It's almost. I'm not gonna say a perfect movie because I never like that term. No films are perfect. Even my favorite film of all time, 2001: A Space Odyssey, has some scenes that drag, and even intentionally, I don't care if it's intentionally, they still drag.
Oh
And
yeah.
this movie has It has some like the one you mentioned with the Indian Spider-Man. It felt like it was going on a little too long, and I'm
And
like, okay, I want to get back to the main
and
story.
and I understand maybe the filmmakers want to have some diversity to
Uh-huh.
help the storyline out, but you got to really think, even if diversity among superhero, like you have to think even a little deeper through. You got to think about who's written different Spider-Man comics, who's created what timeline has there been in many of the different comic books to have something be in depth with the with the with honestly all the fascinations that are coming forward, and some of which are an understanding for the audience, and some of which may inquire a little more better understanding, kind of thing. It's all
Yeah.
about, I think, looking back at the archives for that scenario, for that concept,
And they do
honestly.
go back in the archives of this film with previous Spider-Man movies, but I mean not too
Mhm.
much though. They just said you can't break canon, and they showed like a little image of Uncle Ben dying, and
Oh
I
yeah,
mean it's true. Like, where would Spider-Man be without the death of Uncle Ben?
I
Where would he
know,
be
right?
without loss? And that's kind of what the movie was saying.
Oh yeah, he would, if he did not have the death of Uncle Ben, there would not be Spider-Man would not be as strong as he is, kind of thing, in many of the films, kind of thing.
Hmm.
You know, really wouldn't. But it's like the story of redemption, but then yet again doing right for like to protect the city that Spider-Man or Peter Parker or Miles Morales lives in, truly.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. That's the best thing about him is he's an empathetic character,
Oh yeah.
and that empathy comes through
Mhm.
in this movie. So yeah, we both gave it 4 out of 4.
Yep, 4
Wow.
stars. Oh
Yeah,
yes.
do you think the sequel is going to deliver? Because I have trouble seeing it not being just as good as this movie.
I got a feeling it's gonna deliver. I got a
Hmm.
feeling we're gonna have more exciting. We're gonna keep being taken to different levels, and maybe by the time we reach the conclusion, we could think otherwise. But we're far away from that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Did I say the fourth film? I meant to say the third film. I'm
Third,
not sure. Yeah,
third,
because
yeah.
which is beyond the Spider Verse.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Once we get to that one, I know we will. We're obviously going to after the cliffhanger. So that's the thing, audience. Get ready for a cliffhanger ending.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I had a feeling it was going to a cliffhanger because in my head I'm like, okay, I think we've been here for about like 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Mhm,
So we're gonna get all the heroes coming to our hero's aid,
mhm.
and it feels like this movie's gonna cut to black. And it did. And I was right. But I mean, even so, it makes me excited for the next one. I think the next one's coming out on March 24th, 2024.
Oh yeah,
So
we got a year. So it's gonna
yeah,
be here before we know it.
yeah, we got a year. That's not very long of a wait. Although already I'm like, I want it now.
I know,
I
right?
felt so, yeah, I felt so satisfied by it. I wanted it right
And
away.
just wait, all of a sudden, I'm sure, even though they probably didn't do this still due to COVID stuff and whatnot, but just wait. I'm sure next year we're gonna see Spider-Man marathons or whatnot, like
Oh yeah.
24-hour marathons going to that film.
Oh my
Literally.
gosh. Oh, absolutely. I own Spider-Man 1 through 3, although I don't like 3. I bought it just because I wanted
Mhm.
to grab some certain clips from it.
I remember that one at the time. I don't even think weren't even supposed to do a 3, but they did anyway, I think.
Oh,
Kind of
really?
thing. Well,
Was
it was rumored. I think they were set to do it, but then they couldn't figure it out. But I think Toby Maguire already kind of wanted out at that time. However, now he's
mm,
glad to be back in,
oh yeah.
honestly.
Once he sees he can't get work outside of there, it's like, well, shit, I better get back to this movie.
That's the thing about Tobey Maguire. The one thing I have respect for is, even though it's not hasn't really gone successful, he's tried to have a career outside of Spider-Man, which hasn't really gone as successful, kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
but honestly, I think he needs to accept it, and that's what he's doing at this point. You know, kind of
Mm,
thing. You know.
yeah, well, I mean, he's embracing what he has,
Oh
you
yeah,
know, but
definitely. Oh yeah, went from the introvert to Pleasantville to being an alumni Spider-Man,
to
continuing to be an alumni.
yeah, to being a gambler,
Oh yes, I
all
remember
in one
that.
thing.
I remember that. I don't know if he's doing that very much anymore, but who knows? I'm sure he still
Who
is.
knows? It's an addiction.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, this Spider-Man movie has me excited for future Spider-Man films, has me excited for the franchise. And I Can't wait to see what's next. These guys have me hooked,
Oh yes,
and
I'm
that's
very.
hard to do
I might
because
have to. I might have to go to a comic book store now.
yeah, because well, as a critic, I don't really like. You see a movie every day of the week, you kind of get used to seeing the same thing, and this
Yes,
doesn't feel like the same thing.
it
This
does
feels like
not. Like,
yeah,
and I see where you're coming from. Like when we watch a horror film early that's opening in a few days, or when we see like something that's has tons of commercials where tickets are already on sale.
the Flash. Sorry.
Oh yeah, we're watching the Flash next.
Oh yeah, that one I'm excited for, and also think it's not going to be that great.
I
You know.
feel a little bit the same way, but I feel, and I'm sorry if people can hate me for saying this, but I feel they're over promoting that more for the sake of Ezra Miller at this
No, well,
point.
they're promoting it because Michael Keaton's back as Batman,
Oh
but
yeah.
which is great. But like, where are
Yeah.
we going from there?
Oh yeah, where are we going? We'll see where that goes. And but yeah, this was a good episode. And our do we think we're probably I think our next film will maybe be The Flash
Yeah,
for
well, we'll
sure.
probably do the Flash next
Yeah.
because
Oh
we're seeing that
yes.
Monday, and then I'm not sure when the embargo is up for that, but
I
when it
think
is,
it's gonna be that week for sure, kind of thing. I mean, I know they already did some fan screenings and whatnot, but I am excited to have
yeah,
the experience for that for sure after much waiting. But then of course June's a pretty busy month. July is moderately busy, but we're kind of back in that pattern of summer films. Where it's like June, July, beginning of August, very busy. Then
yeah,
once we get to mid or end of August, it starts to become garbage for a little bit.
yeah.
I
That's
can
when
tell by the timeline of movies I'm looking at.
yeah. Well, we still have a lot. We have a lot more to cover, and
Oh
I'm glad
yeah.
we covered this one. I think so
Yes.
far this is one of my. This is my number 2 of the year. Number 1 is Past Lives, but
My number one is so far. My number one is Beau is Afraid so far.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah. I
because
just thought it was
as
okay.
as someone who as someone who's overthinks and gets stressed out so he's like, okay, this is me. I think in my head, what if my world of anxiety is all of a sudden coming back to haunt me, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
I could see why you'd connect to that. Yeah, I
and
mean, I.
my second though is actually Past Lives so far,
Mm,
kind of thing. And then I think so far, the third one is Blackberry actually,
oh, okay. Yeah, I talked to the
because
director for that one, Matt
yeah,
Johnson. He was
because
great.
because Blackberry just felt so real to what the world dealt with and how
Mm.
people like big CEOs and CEOs do act and probably still act that way. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
don't actually don't actually do the hands-on, only care about the profit.
Yeah.
you know.
I'd have to say this is my number 2 of the year. Number 1 is Past Lives. I don't think you're gonna get something as imaginative or creative as this.
Mhm.
You'll get some other amazing animated films, but you gotta dig and look for them. But this is a testament to why animation should be held up to live action because just look at the work that's put in and look at the emotion it still gives you just as much as live
And
action.
is there an animated film that you like that before we go, is there an animated film that you love that didn't get the appreciation it deserved?
No, not necessarily. I mean, well, if I could think of one, I think, but it did win the Emmy, and it is on HBO now. But I really loved the TV show Spawn. You
Oh,
know,
the animated film, it did moderate at the box office, but not great. Was considered a flop, but it has its fan base. The Iron Giant, I love
oh,
that
everyone
film.
loves that movie.
Yeah,
That
I
one's
feel
gained a
that one
cult following.
I feel like it's cult following more from like its VHS and DVD
Hmm.
type of releases so much more, you know?
Yeah, and it didn't get appreciated when it came out. I think people just didn't, they didn't understand it when it was coming out, or they just didn't care. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of those situations.
I think it just looked so much like something you'd watch on TV, which was probably what it was, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they did that a lot with animated films back then. Like it would be advertised like it's only going to go to video, or then a new studio would pick it up to be like, no, it has to get a theatrical release.
Yeah. So wrapping this up,
Mhm.
is there anything you want to add about this movie before you
I,
took off?
I just want to say, like what this reminds me of honestly is just, how films like this kind of thing it really shows that there's always a new vision for a new type of experience, even in something that we may feel like we're rewatching. There's always something invigorating that can surprisingly be a masterpiece.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I don't want to use a masterpiece for this film yet because I think masterpiece is a term you use when someone has completed all their work. You look at it and you say, okay, this was the one that
Oh
was their
yes.
best. You
Oh
know,
yes.
like
I
I
agree.
want to say that Raging Bull or Goodfellas is Scorsese's masterpiece, but I'm gonna wait until
Oh yeah, Flower Moon, and
until all his movies come out.
you're making me think more about our big movies, my friend. Hell, I keep getting now,
Yeah.
now I got notifications for Oppenheimer. Not like about how tickets are already on sale at certain locations.
Oh, did we get that already?
No, I mean for like Music Box, how they do like their thing for
Yeah.
how tickets are on sale. However, it could be on sale everywhere at this point. It wouldn't matter, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But honestly,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's still too early for me to think about that.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah, I know.
it's only June 1st. That doesn't come out till way later in July.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
we're
well,
gonna get overwhelmed, but we're gonna make all these films happen somehow.
yeah.
You know.
Well, I'd say the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is an invigorating, intriguing, completely original, stylistically film that I think you're really missing out if you don't see it.
Oh yes,
And
you
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 can
are
you can
truly
wait till
missing
it
out.
gets at home. If you have a nice TV,
Mhm.
you know, you could see it
But
there, but
I'm gonna say though, if you're gonna really wait to watch at home, maybe make sure it's actually in the 4K format. Probably
yeah.
4K
Yeah.
or Blu-ray. No, it cannot be regular. HD doesn't count at this point. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Right,
I'm
right,
sorry.
right.
Nothing HD counts at this point.
Yeah, 4K and Blu-ray are the best HD formats, I'd
Oh
say.
yeah.
But
Oh
like
yeah.
on television, HD, nah. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for coming
Thank.
on and doing
Yep.
this.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Mike.
Yeah. And
Mm.
I'm excited to talk about more movies in the future. If you
Oh yeah.
guys liked what you saw, feel free to drop a comment on or a like.
Yes.
Let us know what we're doing wrong so then we can fix it.
and and I'm Tarek Fuming Movies with Tarek. I also write with
Yeah.
medium.com, Positively Naperville, and also I freelance for many other outlets. I just published my first article of the Chicago Reader. So I'm always pretty much permanent to 2 or 3 outlets on a very consistent and periodic basis, but I'm always jumping around trying different avenues, even within the realms of film, but also like arts and cultures and whatnot, and live theatrical. So I'm always about the movies. However, I love having the invigorating joys of
Yeah.
Chicago's culture around it too.
And I think I have a lot of your description linked below. We'll
Mhm.
see. Oh yeah, I got your website. If you go on here,
Yeah.
his website, Movie Sataric, is online, and also his social media handle at Movie Sataric is available.
Oh
So
yes.
remember to
I'm
check
all
all that out. You
I'm
can see mine. Sorry.
very active on Letterboxd and Twitter as well.
Right. No, oh, well, there. See now that's. I
Mhm.
gotta go on Letterboxd more often.
Yeah, Letterboxd. When you're writing reviews, it's always something you really have to remind yourself of, because you'll think about, oh, Letterboxd is still a thing. That happens with me a lot, kind of thing.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't write enough on there, and I should. But if you want to catch me, you could catch me at YPA Reviews on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. The at YPA, the YPA stands for You'll Probably Agree. So,
Mhm.
guys, thank you so much,
Yeah,
and
thank
we
you.
will see you somewhere in the multiverse.
Yeah, see you in the multiverse soon, and we'll probably have more reviews coming to you.
All right, bye bye.
Yeah, bye.